Hello from Python Ninja. In this tutorial, we will learn together JSON object in Python and JSON file. How can we save an object as a JSON file and how can we reload this object to the editor. So what is JSON? JSON is JavaScript object notation, is a small and lightweight data format. JSON also is comparable to XML. It is shorter than XML files, which is a file format also. So both JSON and XML are file or object format. Okay, JSON data format is identical almost to the Python dictionary. So you can see the JSON when we load this object or file to the Python editor. It could be seen as a Python dictionary. JSON also can be parsed using web browser because it's also use the JSON JavaScript syntax. It also can be parsed using mobile application because it also written in JS syntax. Okay. The above fact, which is this fact, okay, make JSON format ideal for transferring or transporting data between client and servers, and this can be also taken or noticed on the mobile operating system. Okay, and in the mobile operating system, there are tools that can parse this JSON object to visualize some result or visualize what we intend to visualize or yield to the end user. The following is an example of JSON, okay, data packet or JSON object. Let me to say that. Okay, as you see, we initialize JSON with curly bracket, and which is identical to the Python dictionary. I use here the string to identify the keys, okay, as the same as the dictionary, and I can use a string for the value. I can use numbers, which is also identical to the Python dictionary. However, for Boolean data, I use true. We start with a small letter here for true, and if you compare to the dictionary, you will start with a capital letter. Okay, so here the Boolean variable are not capitalized. Okay, so we have a true, we have false, the same Boolean variables, and this will be in a small letter. I can also contain a list. For example, it's seen as an array inside the Python, inside the Java script object notation or JSON. And instead of using, for example, none, we use this in dictionary for empty value or for non-value. We use null here, and we can use even another dictionary or nested dictionary inside the JSON object, or we can call this nested JSON. So JSON is seen as typical as the Python dictionary, but with little or slight changing in the Boolean format and null values. Okay, and holding like nested dictionaries or nested arrays. The above JSON object, which is this one, contain example of like the majority data types that comes with JSON object. Okay, as I said that the keys can be string, okay, and it should be string, but the value can be string, number, Boolean, list, as you can notice here. Another object here, another JSON object can be, for example, like first name, last name. We can contain hobbies as a form of list. We can contain integer, Boolean value. We can contain a list of dictionaries here, or a list. Let me to be more specific here, a list of sub-JSON object. Okay. Now the following table, which is this one, shows how the Python JSON or the Python dictionary here, Python dictionary, and the JSON or Python JSON object can be distinguished. For example, in Python notation, we use dictionary, and I use JSON object. Okay, JSON object. Okay. Also, in Python dictionary, we can contain list of tuples. Here we have to term it as array. I use str, okay, as a data format. Here we use string. We can contain either integer or a float or long float data number numerical representation. Here I use the type as number. Here, if I like inspect the number of integer, it will be number. The number of long or float will be number. And the true and false are capitalized here, but here come with a small letter version. So this table is just to show you the difference between the dictionary data format and the JSON data format. In terms of structure, the structures look like the same, but there are some slight differences in terms of numbering or in terms of Boolean and none. None is written as none in dictionary, but here in the JSON object will contain or will be written as none. Okay. Also, JSON object is comparable with XML object or XML files that we introduced in the previous tutorial. Now, keep in mind that the XML file or XML object, okay, which stands for Extensible Markable Language, is larger than JSON object. So if you have two files, okay, with this similar contents, but one with JSON, one with XML, then you will see the size of the XML is larger than it due to the fact that the XML contain tags, okay, that will identify the attribute, okay, and we introduce together how these tags are listed within the XML object, and here in the JSON we don't have these tags, okay. Now, what I can start with, I have to import JSON as usual, okay. And if I want to see the list of methods and attributes or class, I can print dir. So this is the whole methods and attributes that accompany with the JSON module that is already by default installed when we install Python, or we can use inspect method to show this class and method from inspect import get members, and is the function, and we introduce also this way to list the required functions and the class in the XML video. I can look for in the table of the name and numbers. These are in get members of the JSON, okay, and is function. We will see here which function that we will use, okay. I have to keep indented. Not name, because I don't need to contain the private or special method. Starts with, okay, we listed this method before, or we mentioned this. I want to use the starts with method, okay, then I want to print the name, okay, and now I have error because here I have to add a color. Now, easy class is the class that we want to use here to show the decoder or encoder. In this tutorial, we will highlight JSON encoder, and we will use this for like encoding a class when we build object-oriented class and we want to serialize or convert this on our JSON object. But we will start with its functions to see which are the main functions. There are 4 main functions you have to keep in mind when we deal in JSON. We will use dumps or dump, load, and load. Okay, these when we want to convert or serialize a dictionary into a JSON, and inside the Python we don't need to save it into a file, but we use dump and load to save or to dump an object into a file. So we will physically save this into the computer. Later we will load the file from the system or from the directory to the computer using load else. Okay, so these are the methods that you have to keep in your mind. Okay, suppose that I imported JSON, and here I prepared a dictionary. Okay, so the fact is that we have like a kind interaction between the dictionary and the JSON. So the idea is that we convert the dictionary from Python into a JSON, okay, or vice versa. These are the main operations that we want to highlight in JSON objects. So because this is a dictionary object located in the command on the editor script, it's not a file. So, but I mean, it's not a located file here. So, because it's like object, okay, and this object is still in the virtual environment or in the editor, I will use dump s and load s, okay, at the beginning. So, what I can give, I can say JSON. For example, I have key info, okay, just to give a special name. What I will use JSON.dump s, okay. I want to dump this dictionary. I want to convert this dictionary into a JSON. When I execute this code, I have no problem. I can print here the JSON key info. As you can see here, we have the name is the same here. Age, city, and just look, has its children and has its children here because it is a dictionary and it dumps, it's serialized. So the process of converting a Python dictionary into a JSON object is called serialization. So we serialize now this dictionary into a JSON object, and here, as we mentioned before, that the Boolean in dictionary start with capital letter, but here, because it's converted to JSON, it becomes small letter, etc. One thing that we can mention here that you can see here, it's look like a dictionary, but this is not the form or the formal way we use in visualization. So I want to add some flower here. I want to add indent equal for what indent does. It converts this to this structure. So I have a structure that is seen or that looks like more friendly for JSON to keep or to follow this structure. Okay, just to distinguish it from the dictionary. Okay, so we use indent. I can use, for example, another keyword argument than the indent. I can use different separator. Look at this. So the separator here is colon, and here we have comma. What if I want to change, for example, to semicolon here? I want to add semicolon here, and I want to add equal sign. So I can use separator. Separator will accept the argument. Okay, in a table, this will be in a string. So I want to add two strings because I want to change the separator here and here. And the first argument, I want to add this semicolon, which will be added at the end. And in the second table, I want to add equal. And now we look at this, it become here equal. What if I change this like this? It will add the space at the beginning. You can add double space, okay, and whatever you want here, okay, but I prefer to keep it as a default one, okay. So this is for the indent, this is for the separator. We can also do another operation. I can sort, for example, this key, okay. If I use, for example, here sort keys equal true, then I can sort the key. So it starts usually with capital letter, then we have the small letter. It like consider also the alphabetical sorting. Now I did the most operation required in converting a dictionary, okay, into a JSON object, but it's in the same software environment, it's in the same editor, not saved or dumped into a file in the machine. Now, what if I want? Now I dump this to an object within the editor, but I want to now to dump this, okay, to convert this object, dictionary object, into JSON and locate this to a directory, or to locate this, for example, here in this location, I can use with open. Okay, we learned this in Python file. Okay, what I want to give, I want to give a name here, for example, for example, here I give JSON. Okay, example. Okay, put JSON. I have to say JSON or the text. I prefer to use the JSON. I want to open a file for writing, and I want to use this as expression F. What I can do, I can use now JSON.dump, but not dumps. Okay, dumps if you want to serialize a dictionary into a JSON object, but not to save this. Okay, into a local machine, into a local directory. But here I want to save this to a local directory, so I want to add this key info, and I want to append F here. If I execute this line of code, I will see here I have JSON example.json. Here I have JSON example.json. When I open this, as you can see here, I have now a JSON object serialized and stored locally in my machine. Okay, using dump. Okay, what if I want to add, for example, some beauty here? I can save, for example, here I can use indent if I want to dump the file, the object, the dictionary object into a JSON, and take this JSON and store this. I can use indent to make it looks like more friendly. Okay, this is for dump and dumps. What if I want to convert the JSON object, okay, from the editor directly here, and this object is stored in the memory now, not in the dictionary because it's dumps. What if I want to retrieve the process or repeat the process back? So I want to convert the JSON to a dictionary back. What I can use? So I can use, for example, key info back. Let's just say this, which should be typical to this one. It is JSON. Sorry, it is JSON dot load, not loads. Why loads? Because I am converting JSON to a dictionary. Okay, and this JSON object is located in the memory, not located in the directory. And I want to take this object. When I run this, I have no problem. Just look at this. I don't need to print this one. I want to print the return back a JSON object. So this is the original one. I converted this original one into a JSON. Then I converted the JSON back to the dictionary. If you look to this object, this is a dictionary object, and you can compare here. We it converted the project the JSON back to a dictionary, okay, of its original. What if I want to convert JSON object from a file like .json, okay, to my PC? Then what I can do, let us to say info back. Sorry, this is the same name. I can say the first stage I have to open a file, which is this file. Okay, with open. Okay, this file which is example.json. I open this, and now I open this for reading. Okay, as F. So I want to save now key info back will be now the JSON load, not load S, because I load this file from the local directory. Okay, I want to load this F, and I go back to print the key info back, and I will see here that JSON has been loaded and converted back to the dictionary. So just keep in mind, Python dictionary can be converted to JSON in two different ways. Dumps, to convert this to JSON object and store this in the memory, or dump to convert this into a JSON object and store this locally to the file. And the inverse of this process is called load. We have load as to load the JSON object from the memory back and convert this to a dictionary, and we use dump to load the object from the local machine or from a directory and open this back. Now I have an example here, which is Python JSON UTF-8. Okay, look at this file. This is a JSON object, but I have, for example, in this sub dictionary or in this sub JSON object, we have a different ASCII representation. We have here different or different non-ASCII characters. These are ASCII characters, and we want to use an encoding scheme. Okay, for this, if I want to open this file for reading, which is Python.text, remember that I have here this file.text. The text and this JSON can store the JSON object, so you can read from text file and a JSON that is a JSON data that is stored in text file can be read easily. Let us say we have here load. If I want to print this one, then I will see here that I have I loaded this JSON that is stored in a text file and converted this to a dictionary, as you see here that true and false now the Boolean value are capitalized, so we are in the right way. But if you look to this, it will be like not encoding or decoded in a such way. And so if I open this, I see here I have not in this file. In this file, I have non-ASCII character, and when I convert this to a dictionary, back I will see like this bad representation. So when I load the file, I have to append ensure encoding equal to UTF -8, which is the default encoding scheme for Python object for non-ASCII character. And you can see here now we converted this special character to be the same. Okay, otherwise we will have different or bad representation. And remember here, this object which is stored in the text file has been loaded. Okay, and the meaning of loading is converting JSON into a dictionary. Because this is dictionary, I can pass any key. For example, let us to pass this key. As you know, we can access any value based on its key. For example, I can access the title for 100, and you can do any operation that is applied to the dictionary as usual. Look at this example. I also prepared it here. Okay, voila. I have a dictionary here. I call key info dict. Okay, and in this dictionary, I have the title, I have Boolean value, and I have here also inside the dictionary, not inside the JSON object. Inside the dictionary, I have an ASCII character also. So what I can do, I want to like dump or want to serialize this dictionary into a JSON object. So key info, let me to say s equal to JSON, because this is an object, this is a dictionary object, and we'll use dumps. Okay, and I want to pass the dictionary as an argument. Okay, now I dump now this object, and no problem, I can print the key info s. Okay, now we can see that I have like this /u00e9, which is the ASCII chart representation of this special character or non-ASCII character. To handle this, and at the time of the serialization, I want to use ensure ASCII equal true. If I ensure ASCII equal true, then I have also consideration to have this at the time of the dumping process. Okay. Now, again, what can we do here? If I have a dictionary, to serialize this dictionary, convert it to a JSON object, and I have a special character here, I have to append ensure ASCII to convert this back. Okay, so this is the comment that I want to show you. Now, if I add, for example, here also false, I think we have nothing here to add, nothing, it will be the same, but it will affect the load process itself. Okay, so when you save this file and you load this, it will be solved. Okay, but here we now we will move to another thing that is considered to add ensure ASCII when even you want to save or restore this to on a file. Okay, not even to the dictionary. Now let us go to another important topic here. Suppose that I have a class. Okay, for example, I have a class, and this class is called employee. Okay, and I will have in the constructor. Okay, I will have in it. I will have the name, and I will have the age, and I want to store them. Self name equal name, and select.age equal age. Okay, and suppose that I will also, for example, make an instance. Okay, and this will be, for example, my name. Sorry, my name, and this will be with the age. Okay, suppose that I want to keep this instance in a JSON file or in a JSON object. I want to convert this from an instance class to a JSON object. Okay, so what I can do, I have here the class. The class is still in the editor, so I have to use the JSON.dumps. Okay, let us use JSON.dumps. Okay, so emp1, okay, as a JSON file, okay, will equal JSON.dumps of the emp1, okay, which is the instance. Let us see the error. The error is that type error object of time employee is not JSON serializable, meaning that we have an object, and this object, which is emp1, that need to dump it or to convert it to a JSON, but this is not JSON serializable. What we can do, we can use encoder to encode this class instance to a JSON object. Later, we can dump this using the encode. What does that mean? That means I have to define, we have to define encoder. Okay, for example, I want to say encoder object, and in which I have to pass the object class, which will be here emp1 when I call or invoke the function if, okay, is instance of what? If this object or this instance, which is here, is an instance from employee, which take the instance of this class, then I will to return a dictionary. What will be inside the dictionary? I want to return, and as we said that we have the name, okay, and this name should be in a form of a dictionary, and this would be object dot name. And then I have also the age, and in this case I will have object, okay, dot age, and I want to add another thing, which is important thing, which is the signature for this instance. I want to add the signature. The signature is nothing but the class name. So I can say object dot underscore class dot underscore name, equal true. Okay, so this is just like an identifier, not equal, but it will be called true because of the dictionary. So this will be like a signature, or let me to say something that will identify this instance. If that is not correct, else then I will have to raise type error. Okay, sorry, type error, and this type error will say this message. Okay, what we can see object, we can copy this, okay, as this, or whatever you want. Okay, let us now to serialize this. Then the EMB1, okay, JSON like this. It is an employee, okay. Sorry, it is JSON dot dumps. JSON dot dumps. What we need to dump? We need to dump EMB1, and here I have to add default. Default is the default encoding method, okay? And the default encoding method is the method that I designed here, which is encoder, okay? And when we recall this function, we don't use parentheses. If I want to execute this, I have no error. I want to print this EMP1 JSON, then I have a JSON object, okay, that is taken from a class. So now we learn together how can we convert a class instance into a JSON object, okay? There is another way than defining a class or defining a method. What is this way? Let us deploy this. I can inherit or can use class inheritance from JSON, okay, from JSON import JSON encoder, which I showed you at the beginning, okay. What I can do now, I want to add a class, let me to say encoder version 2. This will inherit it from JSON encoder, and I have no constructor here. I will define or make override. We learn together in the object-oriented programming what is the attribute override and the class override, and for that we want to cover now the attribute and the class override. Let's see what we can do now. Let's define the method. We will define, because we want to override now, we want to use override the method that is called default. Remember here, we have a default method. This default method is located inside the JSON encoder, and we want to override this method. Okay, we want to make a modification to this method. If is instance, okay, so if is instance of what? Is instance of the object. The object itself that I want to pass is an instance of the employee. Then I want to return this dictionary, which is the same as what I did, name, and this will be the object dot name, not OS, sorry, object dot name, and here we have age. Okay, sorry, let us use the same quotation. We have age, and in this age we will use the object dot age. And what we will also add, we want to add a signature object class name, and this will be true. If not, then I want to return the default JSON encoder. Then this JSON encoder, this default, which is the default one, okay. And I want to pass the self because we need this based on the instance level. And now I can do serialization, okay, like this. EMB1, okay, JSON, okay, JSON equal equal to JSON.dump. I want to dump the AMP1, and here I want to add CLS, not default. I want to add CLS, and this CLS will be the encoder version 2, which is the class. Then I want to print emp1.json. Now we have also the class object that is converted into a serialized JSON object. Sorry, for some reason the video didn't follow the recording. The last section of this tutorial, just to show you how can we convert the serialized class instance object from JSON to return back to a class object. So as we see here, as we introduce, we have the class here. I just want to describe these lines. I'm really sad to rewrite this code again, but I did that. But it seems that the video lose the recording. Now we have this class, and we created the instance. We converted this instance, okay, of a class into a JSON object using the JSON encoder default method, okay? And we dump this method and we use CLS, okay? Or as I said, that we can use this method, which is making instance from this class, and I can use .encode, okay, method. Now, why I use default here and then I return JSON.default? In JSON.encoder, we inherit a special method which is called default, okay? And this default, in JSON.encoder, there is a method, not a special method, it's called default, and we want to override this method, okay? And to override a method, we should use the same name, and we use the same name here. And if this instance from the above the class, then we return this dictionary, and we use this as a signature. And if not, then we will use the default method. Okay. We either use CLS or we can use .encode to convert this class object using to a JSON object. Now, what if I want to retrieve the process back? So this is employee JSON1 is nothing but a dictionary, okay? So I need a decode method that will convert this dictionary into back to a JSON class, to the same original class. So we can convert this dictionary or the JSON dumped object, okay? We can convert this, okay, by using this decode function. I pass the dictionary here. And if the signature in this dictionary, okay, or in this object, so this is signature, which is the class name, then I want to return instance of the method, which is this method. I created instance now, but I take the details, the values of these keys from this dictionary, and now I can convert or load the serialized class object back to a class, and I can to a class object, and I can access it using dot quotations, as what we learned together in the object-oriented programming. Thank you, and see you next tutorial, where we want to introduce the Python CSV files. By the way, we introduced before the Python text file. We introduced also the XML files, and now we covering JSON. We covered JSON files, and we will end up with JSON. With Python CSV file.